we're just going to open this right up for general coaching. So anybody who wants some coaching, let's get it. Let's get going. Um, and if you want to see like this week, I'm doing a lot of like launch emails and things like that. So if you're on the email list, keep an eye out. And I can also send you the templates of all the things if you want to see some of the emails I'm doing pre and post webinar. So check that out. And let's get going. Who wants coaching first today? Sorry, I'm like moving my screen around. Demetria, start us off with a win and let's go.
With a win. I have a good oh my goodness, I can't believe I'm blanking on the word, testimonial from my client, my friend that I helped last week. She finished her testimonial, so I'm gonna put it on my website first of all, and then use it in marketing. So,
Oh.
and
And
I mean, we had a really good time. She did great work. It was kind of amazing. That one little before and after, I need better pictures, but she had spilled over into her like bedroom. They had bins and baskets, and now you can walk through. Her husband said, I think you saved our marriage, which maybe a little bit.
that's amazing though.
Oh, yeah, a little dramatic, but yeah. But I know he was very frustrated because they're friends of mine, right? So I know he was very frustrated. Anyway, and that was fun. And I would do more of that. I don't know if I so much want to be in person and in people's homes. I did because she was a friend of mine, but it gave me a little angst because it's not my world. My world is very organized and neat. So we had to
Yeah.
go through a little processing and breathing. But I really, yeah, I'm like, I had to suspend a lot of judgment, but
Oh my God, I love it.
we got through it. Um, what I really want to talk about is I have honed in more on who I help and how I help them.
Amazing.
So I
That is
want to kind of, I don't think I want to change my pillars because I have them up, but I'm just going to read you what I wrote one night. I had to get out of bed and write it, and my handwriting was awful because I couldn't see and I was half asleep. Um, but it says, so in Corinne's thing, she's like, she makes us write this statement, you know how it's like a who you help statement. Um, so it says, you know how they told you it was supposed to be for a full life, 2.5 kids and a dog, but it's not like that. And you feel like you're doing it wrong or like you're missing out. I help you create a rich, fulfilling life that matches your dream, not the story you thought you were supposed to live.
Ooh,
So,
okay.
um, what I mean, I kind of honed in on midlife single women whose life, for whatever reason, did not look like it was supposed to look,
Mhm.
uh, and how they can still create a full life. So my pillars were direction, so I think that still fits.
I agree.
Um, Organization and time management, that could maybe be in there. I may not speak to that one as much. Confidence, I definitely think that still fits.
Yes.
Um, and then I have the 3-year vision, but I don't know so much if that's a pillar or a tool.
Yeah, maybe more of a byproduct. And if we're thinking about like your program is 3 months, right? So it's like we've got if you want to do 3 pillars, 3 months, I think that that works. I think that the 3-year plan or like future planning and things like that, if you wanted to combine that with direction, I think could be a good like way to bridge the gap if you want to in your marketing and just talk about like direction and planning as far as because you've got like I think that would combine the future with direction along with having that in the time management there. Now, one thing that I think is really awesome and helpful is identifying your like person. I feel like, yes, I'm so understanding I know that person. And I also want to take it to the next level and think about, where is that person? Where do they actually hang out? Is there a group of them already that we could utilize and meet and talk to? What would that look like? Because I think once you identify the person, it's helpful for marketing. And I also want you to generate a larger audience. That's, I think, one of the goals that we have as we're thinking about growing your practice. So we want to like build a bigger reach of people. So how
Right.
can we reach these? And I think that a way that we can answer that question is thinking about whatever reason. What are the reasons that, like, you were like, whatever reason, those could be the outlets. Where are they? Did they just get divorced? Did they have like recent something like this? Is like, these are my thoughts. And so I want to hear how they
Right.
land.
Yeah. Well, the reasons could be she could be divorced. She could just have never married.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah. And when I say like, I think she compares herself a lot to other people
Mm-hmm.
and their lives, like to her friends and things like that. And again, that kind of what life was supposed to look like.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know where, I mean, there are probably some Facebook groups. I don't know where she would really be hanging out. I see some, not a lot, not obviously all the time, because she probably has a good career, that type of thing. Um, but I see a lot of alone time, watching TV, buffering, scrolling on the phone, that kind of in other people, like observing other people's lives and not so much living hers.
Okay, where does she scroll? What apps does she use?
Probably, I would say probably Facebook, Instagram, um, maybe Pinterest.
Mm-hmm.
Um, she may or may not be on dating sites.
Mm-hmm. May not be on dating sites. So it's like we can think about, like, now we're like, we've taken this and we've made it specific. We want to do, when you're talking about like the aspect of figuring out your ideal client,
Mhm.
want to think about it in two different aspects. We want to figure out, how can I market to this person so that they can see that I'm their person? And we also want to include a bit of the alone, like, it's like, these are what I want your posts to be. So we want to be speaking to, like, if you're doing a cold lead post, being
Mhm.
like, it's like, for years, I would have all this alone time watching TV, scrolling on my phone, and I was always looking at other people who had the life that I thought I wanted. Then I found coaching in 20 whenever, and I found that when I did that, I realized that I was trying to live a life for somebody else that I felt like I should have had. When in reality, I figured out that I wanted to create a new life for myself. That's one of the reasons why I created this whole program. That could be for like the confidence pillar. If we're thinking about cold confidence lead pitch, or cold marketing pitch, I would say post, cold marketing post, that could be an example of that. Now,
Okay.
like, do you see how, and we want to be like, that's that way, that if you're ever, I found it to be really helpful. If you're ever calling somebody out, if you're like, um, for instance, in my webinar last night, I one of the things that I do is I want to make sure that people don't feel like I'm attacking them, that we're on the same page. And I've just figured out I'm just a couple steps ahead. So
Right.
one of the things that I was talking with them about, like with their goals, is I was like, do you try and like do ads, podcasts, groups? Are you doing all these things? Because I did all these things. I was like, I tried all of the things. I also was like the post and ghost thing. I was like, guilty, totally did that. And so it's like, I want you to, like, if you're talking, I want you to do posts about these things in a way that calls them out in a way that they don't feel defensive from. So I found that a really good way to do that is by I found that building relationships is really helpful when you share vulnerability. So
Okay.
it's like that would give them like the vulnerable in. They're like, oh man, like she knows me, she was me. Maybe I could learn from her. Maybe
Okay.
that's the person I want to put on my radar. So that's the first aspect I wanted to add for you is like for marketing, knowing your ICA. And when I say ICA, that's your ideal client avatar. Okay, so that's like one of the reasons why. But the other thing is we want to figure out like where are they? Like so we want to use all these things in posts and things like that. The next reason you want to find your ICA is we want to figure out lead generation from the ideal client avatar. So that's where we want to figure out, okay, where is she hanging out? We have some ideas of, and that's what I would love to get some clarity on for you. So you're like, okay, I know where I'm posting, I know what I'm doing. So we said like Facebook and Instagram
Mhm.
and Pinterest. So that's a great start. That's where you're already marketing. So check, crushed it. Now, within that, I want you to think about like one of my other clients, she became an expert in like a perimenopausal Facebook group. Um, and she's like I think I told you guys about this, like she's like the expert in the group, and there's 75,000 people. So
Oh, wow.
what we're thinking, okay, I don't know where they're hanging out. They might be in that group too. If we're thinking about potential midlife, that could be something. Now, that isn't your expertise, but that's a huge group of people.
Right.
What do you think that like, and there are some questions if you in here that can ask you more about your ideal client. Going down to here. I think I have it as like ideal client questions here.
Okay.
Um, but that could be a thing. Like this is one of the things that I got from Online Coach Accelerator, and like this was very helpful for me. But thinking about like where do they actually like go and hang out? Like we described the problems. You've got all this stuff, but when we are able to figure out, okay, like what would you do if they were in their situation? Like, what are the kind of things they're seeking? That's the kind of stuff I want to kind of like gauge you towards now.
Okay.
So currently, to sign this next client, that's our goal, right?
Yes.
Sign, like next client.
Mhm.
I want you to think about like how this figuring out your ICA is fitting into that plan.
Say that again.
Now that we figured out your ideal client, how is
Mhm.
this going to help you to sign the next client?
Oh, okay, gotcha. I think I'm getting better at speaking to her, like the
Yeah.
thing that I just posted. And because I'm now talking about living that life and not somebody else's life, and it doesn't have to like look a certain way. So I think um I'm honing in on my messaging.
Love that. Where are so that's perfect. We want to speak to her. We're thinking about her and what could serve her. What are like some other things that we can do to sign her now that we know who she is? Like we're be like, okay, so we've got the R line. This is I mean, by like reverse engineering your goal. It's like, okay, we got this goal. We want to sign the next client. What would we need to do to make that happen? So of course we're going to continue marketing 3 to 6, 3 reels, 3 posts, the typical thing if you want. We're going to add the more testimonials. What else could we do? And like the other things that I want you guys to consider is I love the goal of signing a next client. And there are also other goals that might not be direct monetary goals that could be opportunities right now. What I mean by that is like, do you want to grow your list? How many people do you want to grow your email list? Do you want to grow and get some new followers? Would you like to? It's like, so what are some other things that we could like be
Yeah.
doing to
I want
further
to grow the
not just
list.
this goal, but others?
Definitely want to grow the email list.
How many people do you want on it?
I would like to add 50 to 100 people in this quarter.
Let's do it. Okay. What can we do to bring these people in?
I think I need to talk about my freebie more. That's the 3-year, 30-minute 3-year plan.
Okay.
So I probably need to post about that 2 or 3 times a week.
Yeah.
Um,
Mhm.
I mean, because that gets them on the email list. Um,
Another thing that I want to offer to you is that we want to build brand awareness as well. So they could really like what you have to say. We want to, they might like your freebie and things like that, but we wanted them to know that the bigger solution is to join the Curate Your Life program. So I would love to see you reposting information about like hashtag Curate Your Life, having that in your stories, talking about the program itself.
okay.
So it's like, because I think that like we want to sign the next client. So it's like we want to be doing both things. It's like two objectives,
Mhm.
building brand awareness and also talking about your freebie more to build your list. It's like two different things, but we want to give more airtime to the thing that's going to make you more money.
Okay.
So being like, okay, this is gonna like joining Curate Your Life is the greatest thing, and also I have this freebie. This would be awesome. What about doing maybe like a presentation for a group of people? Like if she has a career, maybe that could be an angle. Like maybe there's like a single women in Texas group or things like that. I'm sure Christina would know about that. Like I'm sure she's looking up all those things.
Right.
Um, when you're thinking about like that kind of stuff, that's what I would like to add to your plan as well, instead of
Okay.
just strictly billboard marketing, you know?
Yes.
So what
Yes.
ideas do you have from that?
Um, so I guess I need to spend some time looking for groups, virtual and in person. And that is one of the things, like I am looking for networking things to put on my calendar
Mhm.
for some groups that I'm in, but I probably need to look at other groups. And these are like local in-person groups. I probably need to spend some time looking for more virtual and different in person. The two that I'm in are both like women's business groups, which I think is probably good,
Mhm.
especially since this is my clientele, but there are probably other groups that are not that are women but and networking, but not specifically like small business entrepreneur type things.
Yeah. Because I think that like where do they meet? Like what do they do? Do they go out? Do they want to go out? And so we want to find other groups. And I also want you to be a part of that group too. And I think Alicia has an idea as well. But one of the things I want you to think about real quick is I want you to think about also maybe making a space for them as well. Like maybe you start a networking event. It's like, okay, it's like I would love for there's this thing called Meetup. And then you can be like, okay, it's like I would love to invite all of you here, creating a community of your own too. So like one of the things I'm thinking about doing is like a coaches meetup in North Carolina. Now, will that happen this year? Will that happen in 3 years? I don't know, but it's like something that I just wanted to put on your radar to be
Okay.
like maybe the people in the rate in the rodeo, maybe that could be an outlet too. So that's what I'm thinking could be really, really helpful for you.
Okay.
You know, does
Yeah.
any of that sound like something that's like landing, or you're like, okay, cool.
No, it does because I was in a meetup group. Well, and they didn't do very much meeting. So meetup I think is a good thing. And I can probably well, I can like activate my Curate Your Life group more and nurture them more.
Yeah. What do you think they need to hear? Like I've been trying for ages to figure out how to get my Facebook group excited and doing the Instagram. audit was really helpful. I've tried like, but I think that polls could be an idea, like doing things like that in your Facebook group could be really helpful. I would also say
Mhm.
maybe like a webinar for them, things like that could be really cool too.
Okay.
Have you thought about like doing something that's maybe like a different presentation than the 30-minute 3-year plan one?
I mean, I have some. I have the personal brand one. Um, I have the you can and it's not too late that I posted because it's already done. And I posted that like as a freebie too. So I can put that in, but I have,
But I was saying that like, why don't you do it again for them?
yeah, yeah, I can do that.
You know what I mean? And being like the personal brand one, like that's related to the pillar of confidence. And so being like, okay, like I want to talk to you about this and zooming out.
Okay.
I think that would be a cool one to do. And like, let's give it a try and let's like continue to just give all the value and things like that.
Right.
So, Alicia, I know you've been like, thank you for patiently waiting. I'm like, I want to hear, what do you have to add?
Ooh, Mr. Kata, Mr. Kata. We're to be true, you're too young, Megan, to remember that. But
I am. I laughed like I
to be true,
knew.
where are you located?
Not
I'm
good.
in Austin, Texas.
You're in Austin. Okay. All right. So I'm in Houston. My sister would be a great candidate for your program. She is just going through a divorce. And one thing she's doing is she's in a divorce support group at a local church. They have a particular program, but I know, like I think even my church has a divorce support group or
Mhm.
a singles ministry. So I don't know if you're connected with any faith communities, but that would be like, I used to run a faith community for moms, and we were always looking for people who would come in and speak, especially if they do it for free
Okay.
or for some nominal charge.
Right.
And so there's, like I said, there's singles and divorce groups in faith communities that might be a good place for you to just
Awesome.
look around
Thank
in.
you.
That
Yes.
might be a good one. Um, yeah, you bet. And then the other thing is that I started looking at Instagram Reels where people got a lot of engagement and what they were doing, like how they were initiating a discussion, the ones that were initiating a discussion as opposed to the ones where you can tell they're just like, great recipe. I can't wait to make that. Like you can tell that's not discussion,
Right.
but where there was discussion. And then I just kind of started studying their technique, like what were they doing that was inviting people in? Um, and modeling some of that inside of my Facebook group has been great for fostering engagement and discussion and participation. So I know that other Facebook groups are always looking for people who will help moderate the group or administer the group.
Mhm.
And sometimes some of those people just come in and try to get engagement, try to rally the troops kind of. So that's another thing. Like if you find a group that you resonate with, and it's not trolling, like if you were just literally in there um trying to get engagement, foster discussion around some of these things that you're an expert in, then you will also get like a top contributor badge on your profile or something like that. Anyway, that's just another way to
Okay.
get connect with people online
Right.
digitally.
Okay. Thank you.
I love
Yeah,
that.
you
And
bet.
like if you look at like 2K, like Olivia's like they'll say like engage.
Yes.
So you can just look through all the engaged posts and be like, what did she say that actually fostered a discussion? Like what kind of things did this person, and in other large Facebook groups, I'm sure they're doing that too, because they want to be like top contributors and things like that. And I think that could be really helpful. I love that idea. I also love the idea of like just using whatever they're doing and use that in your Facebook group too. I'm like, work smarter, not harder.
Yeah, not the same topics,
Right.
but like there's this one guy who he talks about Southern culture. You've probably seen him. He's from
I love
Mississippi,
him.
and Yeah, and he great. I can't remember his name, but he gets so much discussion and on his, and I'm like, what is he doing? And I just sort of like have studied his approach and how he's just so inviting. And he's like, okay, now you guys talk about it. He literally says that you guys talk about it.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. And I do have
So,
on my podcast that dropped today, I did, and there I said, like, I really want to hear what you have to say. So I'm gonna put a little soundbite on my thing, and I will tell people, like, I really want to hear like your thoughts on it. So, but yes, I will do that. You're right, that guy does do a good job of discuss amongst yourselves. And
yeah,
yeah.
and he just comes out and says it like,
Mhm, mhm,
but in a way that's just so inviting.
right.
And so it's interesting. He shares a little bit about himself. He shares a little bit about his community. And then he's like, what does this mean for you? How does this impact you?
Yes.
What do you think about this topic? And he does such a good job. He really does.
And I need to do some more research, Megan, on pitching myself to other podcasts. Um,
I
yeah,
think that could be really cool to be like, okay, let's just like see who there's this girl who I follow and her freebie is like 20 podcasts that you can pitch yourself to. Oh my God, I'm totally blanking
mhm.
on her name.
There's a Facebook group for
Christina.
that too.
Is it
Are you
really?
in that Facebook group, Demetria?
I'm
I'm
not.
not. Can you send it in the group? Can you put it in the stream? Please, please,
Yeah,
please, please.
I'll go look for it because they're always looking. I hardly ever pitched anybody in there because they're always looking for people who can speak to women about their life, about single life, about owning your own business, about rising from the ashes. About it's like, that's not my niche, but it sounds like there
It's your
might be a lot of
niche.
places you could.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah, definitely could. Okay, awesome. Yeah, I do know that that's out there, but I have not gone in there.
Free. I'm just putting this in the group. Is a bunch of podcasts to pitch yourself to. Christina will appreciate that. Now, I know that I think that her prices are like around like 5K a month, which is
Mhm,
like sheesh to do your own podcast and things like
right,
that. Or to pitch you to podcasts and things like that. But I'm guessing that this talks about it. I also, one of my clients, Amy, she has a whole program around um using media and brand partnerships to build your brand and things like that.
mhm,
She teaches about how to like pitch yourself to podcasts and things like that. So I'll see if she has any like resources that are like around pitching yourself to podcasts. But I think you already have a podcast. You know how to podcast. That could be a really cool way to just build awareness, like bring new
right.
people in. And Nadia, I think you also had an idea, but I was like, I don't know if that was for coaching. I was like, I saw your hand go up and I was like, all this is such a good brainstorming session because I think we can all glean from this.
Hey, no, it just popped into my mind when you were talking and you were saying about what was it you were saying? Forgot now, I should write things down. I think when you were talking about doing your next webinar and then you were talking about personal brand. And then what pops into my mind is like, because your person might not be sitting thinking, like, I want to develop. I don't know if that's what you meant by a personal brand, right? But like,
Right.
what are they thinking they want? Like, because I know obviously we know all the things that they're like, they're not happy, they're scrolling, they're comparing themselves.
Right.
But like, what is it that they want? And then if you can put that in your title, I know that sounds basic, but like, it's just an easier way to capture their attention.
Right. So, I've been working on that.
Mm-hmm.
I say I was doing the story brand stuff, the story brand.
I don't know.
Tell me about that.
Oh, is that with Corinne? Well, the
Yes.
story brand is Donald something.
Yeah, I
Donald
think like
Miller.
something, and then they like Rachel Bell did story selling. Like there's a bunch of people who talk about
Donald Miller. Yeah, it's all about
Yeah.
your messaging.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah. Build a
Yeah.
story brand.
Yes.
That's it. I read that years ago.
It just really breaks it down piece by piece. So I think it's kind of good. And I know a while ago I said I was doing too much, but I'm really just using what I need to
Yeah.
get the thing.
So like, what is something that they're sitting there thinking like, this is what I want?
Well, I think like really she wants to be happy with her life and she wants to feel like she's accepted and the choices that she's made are not wrong. You know, like her life doesn't have to look like her friends, or it didn't have to look like the American dream, you know, like she can be single and adopt if she if she wants to. She can just be single and still have a full life. But I think she's like sitting on the couch, watching TV, scrolling on Facebook, looking at what everybody else is doing, and not going out and making her life fun and interesting and what she wants it to be.
There we
Yeah.
go. Fun and interesting and what she wants it to be. So, sorry, Nadia, I keep going. I'll add.
Yeah, sorry. So yeah, so on the back of that, like, so because you're saying, I'm just picking what you're saying, right? Is that she wants to not think that she has to do it the way the normal society do it, right? But then she's also at the same time, she's not sitting there happy because she's sitting scrolling, and so she's not actually, it's not like she's happy and she just wants to not feel like it's wrong. She's actually not happy with her current life, right?
Right.
Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So then what is it she thinks will make her happy? Like, what does she want? I'm just digging deeper in it, right? So like, what is it that she wants that she thinks will make her happy? Because it's probably not what is going to make her happy, right? You're going to teach her that actually you can be happy in any way, right? But like, it's trying to think of like, well, what did they think is the answer? Does she think that she needs a marriage and a, you know, does she think she needs societal norms to be happy? And you're going to convince, you know, help her see that that's not the truth. But what does she think?
I think she probably does think that having a partner, having maybe yes, maybe no on kids. Yeah, I think that may be
Yeah, so it's just, it's for me, it's just seeing that actually
right.
she's thinking, this is what I need.
Yes. Yeah.
So you can address that and be like, you know what I mean? So it's like, I'm just trying to think, like you can address that and be like, you might think the only way to be happy is to have, you know, the 2.5 kids or the family and all that jazz. Sorry, it was just the way I was thinking, trying to dig deeper into what was actually going on in her head.
And like, so on Facebook, she probably sees like her friends who are married and like they're doing date night, or you know, the matching pajamas at Christmas with the family thing and the family Christmas cards and like Disney trips, you know, that kind of thing. And
yeah,
you know, mommy's day out because you know she's sitting on the couch and she's like,
yeah.
Well,
So it's like how to have a happy life without the like, so it's like, because I've got a single friend who's been single for years and years and years, and like she's still, I'm like admiring, so maybe it's like she travels a lot alone, like she is busy, like she'll be like, right, I'm gonna go and be on the radio, like, and she, you know, she goes and does it. So it's like how to have a happy life without fitting into like society's box, like that's like
yes,
kind of thing. Anyway, that was just my thoughts. I hope that helped in some way.
yeah. And I guess okay, so because like I love the Eagles and I bought tickets, like, and I went with a friend, and then the next time they came, I bought one ticket because I didn't need to chat. I just wanted to be really close and sing and like things like that. Like, and I got myself the VIP experience.
Yeah.
Oh
It
my
was
God,
not
I
that
love it.
special, but I'm like, at least they gave an old man swag bag. I'm like, what is this? It was
Yeah.
socks and a dop kit and like a hotel keychain thing. I'm like, okay, I love y'all, but this is not good swag. So, anyway, okay.
So for me, so for a person
that's really
that's
niching down and making assumptions about your audience, isn't it?
yeah. So what I'm thinking there is like there's so many things, because my friend Michelle, who does everything herself, but she's been in the army for years, so she's kind of there. But like it's like find the confidence to do the things you want to do, even if you're on your own. Like, because most of the people are like, well, I can't do that because I'm on my own, like that type of thing. So I'm just trying to like come up with ideas of like, that's what they think the problem is, that they don't have the confidence to actually like do stuff on their own.
I love successful single life strategy.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
good.
that's so good. I love that.
So what I'm doing here is what we're doing is we're taking I think what's been happening is you've been selling the process. You've been
Yeah.
selling the curate your year. You've been selling the 30-minute 3-year plan. So you've been selling the process is the plan. But what we want to transition you to doing, that's already so good. You've already gotten clients, it's awesome. And what we want to transition is to selling the result. That's exactly what, and I was like, okay, like at the very end, you were like, okay, she wants to be accepted. She wants to be like the choice, and she can be single and adopt if she wants to. But it's like she wants to be fun and interesting. She
Mhm.
wants to be like that excited, like being the it girl. Like, it's like that's what I was thinking, like that
Yeah.
like that was like an old TV show. And it's a
Mary
song.
Tyler Moore.
Yes, Mary Tyler Moore. Yes. My mom would always, I would always watch it. So it's like, what does she want? She wants to plan an awesome life. Stop scrolling and plan your awesome life. Awesome. And that is like that's kind of still a little bit of the process, but it's more the result.
Yeah. Stop scrolling and live your awesome life. That's it. Because
Yes.
planning is not important. It's like actually do it.
Right.
Yes. And you're gonna be like, and then you can explain the process afterwards.
Yeah.
That's not the headline, that's not the hook.
Yeah, that's
All
it.
these hooks for your posts and being like, are you ready to stop scrolling and live an awesome life? Read more. It could be
Yeah.
a webinar. It could be a like freebie. It's like, you know what I mean? Like those are different kinds of things that I think you're like, now it's just going to up level everything you've already done. And it's
Right.
like, why do they want to break the societal norm? Could be an even deeper why. Like the result is like what I like thinking about is like the why. And like it's like so it's like we're shifting from selling like the problem and the process to the solution and the result. So it's like instead of fixating on like what she has and she doesn't want, let's paint the vision for what she does want. Let's be like,
Okay.
I want you to share that story about the Eagles, like in your marketing. I want you to be like, you know what's awesome? Solo concerting. Let me tell you why I love to do it. I just want to be in the moment. I want to be appreciating this. It's like that's what it's like being a single person is fucking awesome in your midlife. You can do whatever you want. It's amazing and selling you as like I've done it, I want to teach you to do it. Seeing you and I think we talked about this. It's probably in the story selling, but like the hero's journey. It's
Mhm.
like I used to be like you. I used to just be scrolling, and then I decided I just not going to have that anymore. And that's the level of like leadership that I think people are looking for. And I think that I really think that I want to see you shifting even into more of this year like being like, I am leading the single midlife women. I have started the movement of the badass single woman in midlife. This is my movement. I'm owning this shit. I want to be the leader of this. If you start talking like that, people will listen. In a way they like might have like it could be like just an added even better way than before.
Right. Awesome. Thank you guys.
Of course. I think this is like really cool for us to like I think this is just a really cool like thing for all of us. Now, I want you to think about, okay, I want you to think about like the movement. I want you to think about like the person who's like leading the movement. That you're like, yeah, it's like we leave our jobs, we do what we want, we run rodeos, we are badasses that like like I don't know if this would land because they're seeing themselves as not the hero. That's what I'm saying. Like, we want to, like, if you paint yourself as a hero, then they'll start to see themselves as the hero too. But like, it's like this is your comeback, like the comeback, like it's almost like it's like their comeback to come, like come, they want to like, because they feel like they were behind potentially. That could be like an angle that you want to play. Um, but thinking about from here who is the kind of person that is like what does it have to take from you? What emotion do you have to feel to lead this movement?
Do I have to fill?
Yeah, to be like I can post about this confidently, like like feel like yeah.
I think, hmm. I was, I guess, energized, but I do like my, my 2024 word is aggressive. So I have to feel aggressive.
We're gonna feel aggressive.
Yeah.
We're gonna go with like I get
Yes.
what you mean by that. I think like so we're gonna go for you, I think aggressively showing up as this leader. That's what I'm seeing. I'm picturing you. And I
Yes.
want you to like really be like, what does this leader of this badass midlife movement look like? Like, what is she like? What makes people stop their scroll? Like, what kind of things is she doing? And to pull it all together, what do you need to think to be leading this movement?
Well, maybe think about how much fun I'm having, like, yeah. And then I want other people to feel this way too. Like I said, I wanted to travel and I've been going so much that I'm like excited about being home for 6 weeks. I'm like, okay, I traveling check and I'm gonna do more, but I'm really excited about being home for 6 weeks. So
Yes. I think that this is like so fucking good. I'm so excited that you've gotten that clarity. I think that we're just gonna continue to up level, and I cannot wait to see all these posts to these people. And
yes.
just gonna keep getting even clearer. So
Awesome.
good.
Awesome.
Amazing.
Thank you.
Thank you. Who would like to get some
Thank you
coaching?
guys.
Nadia, bring it in with a win.
Hey, sorry, I don't know what's up. So my win is that I got a consult booked out of nowhere. Well, not nowhere, but like just came in my diary, which was good.
I love this. Tell me what you want some coaching on.
Okay, well, I have a question. It's similar to this, right? It's so funny, just with like last week, Alicia. See, when I'm seeing other people being coached, I'm like, oh my God, I know exactly where they should go. But then when I try and flip it onto mine, I'm like, I have no idea. Like,
I know.
it's just so
How are you gonna
terrible.
get
Like,
coached? I know. It's like the same thing for me. And I'll coach someone on the exact same thing that I need coaching on. I'm
yeah.
like, oh, this
It's
is
so
why I
fascinating
can't
because I
help.
see everything so clearly with other people. I'm like, oh
I
no,
know.
like, but then as soon as I think about me, I'm like, it's just blocks everywhere.
Every time I was like, so let me know where your blocks are, and we'll I think it's like it's probably there's like some scientific study that could like go to explain it that would make me feel better.
Yeah.
I feel it too. I'm like, there's probably like some like if you're in a thought loop, you probably can't see the thought loop. I don't know.
Yeah.
Oh, we're gonna make that up. I'm like, there we go. Facts,
Yeah.
not really. So what are you feeling blocked right now?
So yeah, it's like things like that, right? So I'm like, I've been so good this week with like networking and like talking to people and all that. It's been the best week so far. So that's been really good.
Amazing.
But I'm trying to think of like how to find more people, like more people in my niche. And like I know you can go into groups and things like that, but you can't really like post, oh, I'm doing a training. You can't really like there's so many rules and things like that, like you can't post about. So I'm like, and then you're like, oh, well, if you go into like people's podcasts or like being an expert in someone's group. But like if I'm a business coach, my clients or ideal clients, I'll be in other business people's groups. So I'm like, they're not going to let me come in and do any kind of training in their group. So I've just got these blocks around like, yeah, but I can see it for everyone else where they could go, but I'm like, there is
We're
nowhere for me to go.
Yeah. Well, that thought probably won't help you. That there's nowhere for me to go.
That was an extreme comment, but
I
do you know what I mean? Like in my
totally know.
head,
I
I've
was like,
struggled to figure out. I'm like,
I was like, I totally get that. But I think that one of the things that could be really helpful for you is thinking about instead of going into other business coaches groups, there are probably other things that coaches are seeking that aren't necessarily business coaching. For instance,
okay,
they might be seeking learning how to do their finances. So they might need an accountant. They might be learning, like there are lots of different like things like that are PR people. Maybe like Christina, I don't know if she has many people who are publicists and things like that, but you could find like a VA for coaches. Like what are other areas? Where are other people that like they're seeking a coach for, that you fit the need for. So one of the things that like, also you're one-on-one. So like that's another big difference. Like if they're looking for a one-on-one coach versus this. So you could look at places like people are what's it called? Brain. When you like you could look at like other adjacent service businesses, and then that's where you can start to do like podcasts, like webinars, things like that, where you position yourself as an expert in the group, and then you could be like fill that need for the group. Like there are lots of things that people can just like buy, and like a course or something like that, but they probably need more help than like that. Like they buy a course on ads or something like that. They might have a Facebook group about all, or they might just be a person on, like for Emily. One of my friends, Emily, is Emily. She's the Facebook ads for coaches. Ads for coaches by Emily. So she does not want to, she does not want to be a business coach, but she has all these people following her that are coaches. So that could be like another outlet. What's coming up for you there?
Well, to begin with, I'm kind of like my brain's just arguing because I'm like, well, but the person I'm looking for isn't necessarily wanting a VA right now. You know, like they're not at that stage. They're still like just trying to get their business, sign their first few clients, get up and running. So they're not looking necessarily for VAs or someone to help them manage their finances. Like they're not, my head is like, no, they're not there yet. They're looking just for help to build their business.
Okay.
And that's just what I go back to. Like,
So there are two things I want to offer. Just like they're out there for yourself. There are people at the beginning of their business that think they need to hire a VA and do ads. I like swear. I literally like the life coach school teaches ads right out the gate. That was where I got certified.
yeah.
So there are people that are teaching a different strategy than you and I like are on the same page about. So
Mhm.
there are people right out the gate that might be thinking they need to do all these things, pay for all these things at the beginning, and you could be a voice that's a different voice for them, where they're like, oh, I don't have to do this right out the gate. The other thing is, so it's like people might be there still looking or planning for the future. Like planning for the future, they could be like that. And the other thing that I want to offer is that your within that, I think that you might have a thought that you have to be for beginning business coaches or beginning coaches. Or three thoughts actually. Yeah. But what if you aren't just for beginning coaches? You could be for more advanced coaches too.
Yeah, like I don't think it needs to be like their first client. They've not had it. Like I don't want. Actually, that's not my ideal client because like my ideal client is someone who's been trying for a while and they're not gaining traction though, right? So they're not like beginning, as in like they've not signed a client or they're just certified, but they aren't like they've been trying for ages, but they're not signing clients. They've been trying all the different systems. She's been throwing spaghetti at the wall, like doing every webinar, all that jazz. But they're still like they're not making a lot of money. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So if they're not at that stage yet, I'm like, well, they're not going to be looking for like VAs and stuff like that if they're not really consistently signing clients.
So I think that that could be true, but I also think that like there might be people in there that like they might have a VA and they're still trying for a while. Like that was just a thought. The other thing is like you go to certifications.
Pardon?
Like certifications, and you could be like, oh, where are people certified? The life coach school. We can go to that and be like, okay, it's like now that like one of the things that I thought, I swear, and I said this last night as well, I was like, I swear I thought that if I paid $18,000 to get certified as a coach, then people would just come. Like I just
Yeah.
thought that there would be like just like this awesome magic moment where people would be like, ah, this person has invested in herself and wants to help me, so of course I should pay her. That's never the case. So that could be a
For
great place for
sure.
people
There's
too.
so many, and I'm in a few groups because I certified with LCS as well. But
Yeah.
these groups, like you're not allowed to like be like, hey, I can help all of you. So
Right.
I'm like, see all these people, and I'm like, I know I can help them, but I can't engage with them. So I'm like, there needs to be another like way.
Another way. So within that, I know what you're talking about. Like I think that one of the things that
Yeah, but sorry, Alicia, but where is my problem? Like, where can I go that I wouldn't be competing with another business coach? Like, I'm sort of, this is my block. Where
So even
are
if you're
they?
in,
Like,
even if you're in another business group, you know, you can just share, like, even when they say give good advice, you can just echo their own good advice. Like, yeah, when I did this in my other blah, blah, blah business, I made money too, or that was a marketing technique that really helped me in my other business. Like, just like I was talking about Demetria, the more you're commenting, and it doesn't really even matter what you're saying. It's just people start seeing your name and they start
yeah.
seeing you as somebody who's frequent in there and who's a contributor and who is just like giving off good vibes. And they're going to click on your profile. Like you don't have to be trolling, you just have to be participating. And you have so much business experience. Like, what the actual F? Like, I would want to pick your brain and mine your experience too. Like that sounds like you've got a lot to offer. So yeah, even like I said, even if you're just echoing and are a supporter of a person, I have somebody in my Facebook group who I don't even know if we did a consult. We may have done a consult. I think we did. And it was too much money, blah, blah, blah. But based on our consult, she started doing stuff on her own. And every piece of advice I put in the group, she just soaks it up. And then she echoes it back. And now she's starting her own little hiking group locally. And she's just always um echoing, she's just like my biggest fan in there. She will never pay me a dime. I mean, she
Yeah.
might someday, but for the most part, she won't. But people in the group know who she is because she's
Yeah.
just always in there, just
Yeah.
being a happy, fun person. Anyway, that's my two
Yeah, no,
cents.
so I thank you. I appreciate that. And I do. And I think that like I can do that. And then there's the other stupid thing is like, but my business on Instagram and then that's on Facebook and Facebook just really
Yeah. But
personal.
you know
Like
what?
I'm
This is no different. This is no different than from Olivia's, what Olivia talks about, Olivia Vizzacro, in case you don't know her, the famous Olivia. It's exactly what she talks about. It's exactly about going and commenting on random people's stuff who are even just adjacent to whatever it is you're doing, being their hype person, and people are going to follow you from there. Like, you just have to be a fan of somebody else. This has been a real mindset shift for me from social media because I used to think that too. Like I was just always trolling and then I felt slimy and sleazy. And I've only recently realized like, no, I just have to be visible. Like I just have to be
yeah.
hype person for other people.
Yeah.
Does that ring, Megan?
Yeah, no, I do. I agree. It's like I know that and on one level, but on the other level, I'm like, oh, there's just so many like, sticky bits. Not that I don't mind going in and commenting. I'm just like,
well, so that's where there's a thought. I was like that we can dig into. And I want to know, like, there's also just another thought that we've like maybe mentioned a couple times about like your people. It's like about like
oh
people
yeah.
who are like already in your audience, like the 2,000 people that we might have mentioned last week, like the people that are following you that like, so your goal right now, how many clients did you want to sign? 5?
Well, 8 in total,
8
but
in
to
total,
be,
yes.
yeah.
Okay, so 8, so we want 8 total clients. And I genuinely think that your brain is like, no, none of these 8 clients are in my current audience.
No.
Why aren't they? Why? Maybe they are. Maybe they are. Let's just like, that's what I just, like, I want you doing the work to half of the days, but I also would love for you to talk to your people. It might be nice. I think
But
you
I'm
already
like,
are leading a movement, you just don't see yourself as leading the movement.
yeah, I'm like, they're not. Like, honestly, I went through, like, I'm finding it so much easier to go and just meet other people, like on Instagram, like new connections than my people. But honestly, see, when I scroll through my Instagram followers, most of them are like BAs or like, there's not a lot that are coaches because I only switched to being a coach not that long ago. So most of my audience are maybe business owners, but they're not coaches.
Okay, right. So, but it's like, okay, so we can see that like the business advice that you're sharing has worked to lead 2,000 people. You've already created, and so now what you did to create that group, that following, right? You already did that. You already know how to create a new following, if that's what your brain is saying. Like, I can't go into other people. It's like your brain is kind of like made an unwinnable situation that I'm trying to find like a loophole. So it's like,
Yeah.
I can't go to the business coaches and I also don't have anybody in my audience. So
Yeah.
that's, I think, where so what the solution could be for your brain that's just feeling kind of stuck. I'm just gonna give you a different alternative. Make a new group, lead a new movement that you are starting this new thing for coaches out there. You've already created a group of 2,000 people just from talking about general business and life. So of course you can create at least more clients are there and probably 8 total clients for sure.
Yeah.
What comes up there?
What do you mean, like a new page? Like starting
No.
afresh?
I'm just saying that like start sharing and the people will come. I think that like, because like, so it's like you're saying that I have to go outside of myself to attract people. I'm saying
Yeah.
also while you're doing that, which is great, if you want to still do that, also having like you see within yourself that I can create a group as I'm finding new people.
Yeah.
Like, so it's like, I want you to, that's what I mean by like nurturing and outreach at the same time. I want you to be like growing your people.
Yeah.
And I also want you to find new people. But I think
Yeah.
the brain is like, I have to only find new people and there's no one and I can't. And I'm like, that just
Yeah.
seems very tricky. I'm like,
Yeah.
that seems
Mhm.
less than ideal. So I'm like,
Yeah.
how can we, like you were saying at the very beginning, you're like, I'm blocked. I'm feeling blocked. I'm trying to find people. I'm trying to find like mini segues for your brain to get unblocked. So I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, where could we believe that like there are people, or we just need to believe that like I can find people
Yeah.
and attract them in.
Well, I do think that I do believe, and I'm trying to not believe it fully, and I am going through them, that out of the 2,000, there's not very many people that are actually my ideal client. Like, I
Let's
know
just
I
say
think that is a
maybe,
fact, but I'm working on it.
maybe.
Don't
Let's just say
shake your head,
instead of fighting with your brain
Alicia.
again, I'm like, I still want to fight with your brain again. So we're working on believing that there
So we're
are.
working on believing, or what I'm doing is I'm going through them to find people. I am doing that slowly, but that is the one that I put off the most. I don't know why, it's so ridiculous, but like I would rather go and just cold people, DM people, and than actually
Okay, then
talk to
let's just
them.
do that. I was like, let's the path of least resistance. I just want you to promise me that you're also working on the thought that I'm doing the
Yeah,
work to see that
yeah.
my people are also in my audience. I'm like,
And my client that signed last week or a few weeks ago was like randomly in my audience. So it's like I have evidence to prove
what?
otherwise.
I'm
Like,
baffled,
so I don't
bamboozled.
know why my brain's just like, no. Anyway, okay, so I'm going to work on that there are at least 8 people within the 2,000. That could be true. I think if I look at it like that, like out of
Thank you.
2,000, there
Look
could
at
be
the,
8 potential clients.
let's just math it. Let's just like math for a second. That's not even, that's 0.4%, not even 4%.
Yeah.
So,
Okay, fair enough.
so could we spend like at least 2 to 3 days talking
Okay.
to 2,000 people?
Yeah, I
And
will.
maybe if they don't know, like if they are the VAs and other business coaches being like, hey, I don't know if you work with people one-on-one anymore, but I'm actually I'm looking for some new clients. Feel free to send any other coaches my way. You're still building a connection. Maybe you could do something with them later, being like, if I know of anyone who's looking for a VA, I'll definitely put your name out there too. That's
Yeah.
what one of the things that like, it's like that's another thing that you can do. You don't just have to like, because maybe they do, maybe they know some coaches. That's why they're following you.
Yeah.
When their clients
Yeah.
they can confuse you.
Okay. Yeah, I could just build relationships with VAs so that we could like swap referrals. Because I don't normally, when I've been searching through recently, I've just been ignoring everyone that's not not ignoring, but like, just highlighting the people that I'm like, well, they're coaches, I can go and talk to them. So yeah, maybe I should just work on building relationships with everybody.
Wouldn't that be nice?
Yeah.
What would you need to think to build relationships with everyone?
But I need to think.
You just need 8.
Pardon?
Not need. You would like to have, you would love to have 8. That's not a huge, that's not like 64.
Yeah.
I'm sure of the 2,000 people, there are probably 8 that either are a coach or know of a coach or
Yeah. I think when I'm thinking about it in the other way is I'm thinking it's a waste of time building relationships with people that aren't my ideal client. That's what's happening at the moment in regards to current audience. I'm like, well, if they're not my ideal client, like if I can't see that from their profile, then I'm like, that's not a good use of my time, which sounds awful.
waste of time.
That is so judgy and rude, Nadia. I am not your ideal client, but I want a relationship with you.
Yeah, that's true.
And maybe Alicia probably knows some other coaches. Oh my gosh, wait, she knows like a ton of other coaches, and things like that. Like,
yeah, that's fair.
this is what do you
I think just when I'm putting on my head of like lead gen, I'm like, right. And I'm like, oh yeah, that's true, Demetria. Yeah, I put my head on a lead gen, so then I'm just like ciphering out, like yes, no, yes, no, yes, no, yes, no. But that is so true.
I was
Yeah,
like,
and I'm actually not like that in person at all. I would speak to anyone for ages. Like I'm genuinely a very personable, like I'm
I
really
know
good,
you are.
like I make relationships with everybody.
People.
I think when it comes to like this is time to generate leads, that's kind of what I've been,
So maybe
you
we
know,
call it something different. What if we
yeah,
call it your building relationship time?
yeah, that's better.
Okay, so
That makes
that's
me feel
all
better.
it
That
is.
feels more human.
I want you to put it on your calendar as time to build relationships. Like literally change the name. If it says outreach, build relationships. If it says or if it says nurture, that's
Yeah,
like too businessy. Use the words. It's like sometimes semantics matter, and we
yeah,
actually need to change the language for your brain to think different thoughts. Sometimes I'm just saying path of least resistance. Sometimes we can change the thoughts. Sometimes we can change the circumstance. Let's just call it building relationship time. And I think that would be really, really helpful for your brain.
yeah. Okay, fine.
Okay. Yay! Okay, fine. So from
Okay.
there, we're going to build relationships with everyone. I want you to think about like, what do you want to do to now? We've given a couple of ideas. What would be, I know that it still might seem bleak, that it's very difficult to find people outside of your current audience. So we've at least gotten into the mindset that like, A, I can generate an audience, and B, I can build relationships with my current audience. Those are 2 key beliefs that I want you to take
Yeah.
with, like, very, very important. The other thing I want you to think is like, I want you to think about like, what do you want to believe about finding new people? Currently, we have a belief that there's nowhere for me to go if I'm not competing with people. And it just feels really, really stuck. Like
Yeah.
even if let's say that like some other business coaches don't want you to be working their groups and things like that. That might be true. Others might think that. It just doesn't serve me to think about dead ends.
Mm-hmm.
So I just want you to think about like when we're thinking about there's nowhere for me to go, when we're thinking there's no other leads I could possibly generate, first off, do you want to continue to believe that? And
No.
if you don't like, because it just like it's creating stuckness, the block is, I think that's the block.
Yeah.
It's like there's no one here, there's no one there, and I can't bring any more people in. It's
Yeah.
like so that we've solved for 2 of the blocks. Now the
Yeah.
3rd level of the block is like, what do we want to believe about? So I'm just gonna write this down. Like I can build I'm building, I say like not I can, I'm building a new subsection, which I'm pretty sure of my audience that wants this. I'm nurturing or building relationships with my current audience. What do you want to believe about going out to meet new people instead of kind of being like, there's nowhere for me to go and those kind of things, because they just kind of keep you stuck? What do you want to think about other opportunities outside of yourself? Because you're like, there's no networking groups, there's nothing like this. And I know what your brain is probably thinking. Like, it's a lot of stuckness.
Yeah, fair enough. I agree. And I like the fact of like thinking about like building relationships with my current audience, because there'll be loads of people in my audience that might not be my ideal client, but they'll like my content. They will be like, she's a really good coach for coaches.
And
And
maybe
so
they know a coach that
they
could be.
might know a coach. I know I'm repeating you, but it's just sinking in more.
I want it to sink in. Rephrase it as many times as you want. The other thing is, what if they want to become a coach?
Yeah.
What if
I mean, to be
they're
honest, I could probably help them with their business as well. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, it's not like I'm saying I am marketing to coaches, but I can help anyone with anything, really. My businesses are so like,
yes.
Diverse.
And I
Or
still
I
have
say
a
diverse, but like they're all the same. It's marketing, okay. So what I want to think about is like, say when I set time to go and meet other people, is if I'm just gonna go out there and be me and help as many people, and just like network. I love networking. Like I genuinely do.
and network to help others.
Yeah.
Okay, where do you want to go to network to help others? I know your brain's like, there's nowhere. Let's list 3 places.
Well, I'm just gonna go into Facebook groups.
Okay, Facebook groups. Let's do that. 3 Facebook groups.
Yeah.
Just offer help. So freaking good.
Okay.
What do you want to think as you do this?
I am like, I'm just gonna meet people. Like my only goal is to just meet as many people and build as many relationships as possible.
How does that feel?
Yeah, that feels better because then there's nothing attached to it. It's just like, I'm just gonna make friends.
Yes. And like, what emotion other than good do you want to feel on purpose instead of icky?
What do I want to feel? Or what does that make me feel?
What do you, yeah, either. Like, what is just the emotion you want to generate on purpose as you're networking, as you're in your building relationship time? What's a word that you can come back to that you can be like, I'm going to feel this way?
I'm gonna
Friendly,
feel,
approachable, like,
yeah. Yeah, just like open, curious, like that's how I want to feel.
okay. Remember, it's only 30 minutes a day. Now, your
Yeah.
girl needs to run to the bathroom desperately.
Okay.
Struggles, but Alicia and Maria, I know that you guys haven't gotten coached yet, and I'm going to coach you as soon as I return. It's going to be great.
Thank you.
All right, I'll be right back.
Oh
And
dear.
Nadia, that is just what you just did at the end was so valuable because I have been in there and I'd be like, when you know what that ick feels like you know what that feels like in your body. And when you start to feel that when you're in social, like if you just think about, okay, this is not why I'm here. This is not what I want to feel. How do I want to feel? I want to feel helpful. For me, it's helpful. That's what
Yeah.
I tap into.
Yeah, that's true.
When I'm in groups, I'm like, wait, I'm here because I want to feel helpful. So then I think, okay, if I were just being helpful without expecting anything back from it, what would I say and how would I say it? If I just met somebody on a trail or met somebody in a store or something and they asked me a question, I just want to be helpful. It takes away that, are they going to follow me? Are they going to ask for consult? All those sub thoughts that are in the back of your mind. So
Yeah.
that's what I tap into is like helpful. As soon as I feel that ick start to rise, I'm like, no, I'm just here to be helpful.
Yeah. No, I like that. It's true. And see, when I actually go to in-person networking, I used to do it a lot. That's how I felt. Like I had no agenda. I was just like gonna meet all the people, build and like speak to everybody, and I really enjoy it. But I did feel like when I'm moving more into the networking and the groups and things like that, there's like this I'm doing it for a purpose, which is more like what makes it more difficult. So yeah, I think I'll just go in with the whole like this is just an hour to connect with people.
Mhm.
So that's
Yeah.
good. Thank you. I appreciate your help.
Yeah, of
Oh my
course.
gosh, I love you guys. This is so awesome. Alicia or Maria, who wants some coaching next? And start with a win.
Alicia, you were here first, but I'm happy to
Um,
go.
Okay, so I'm good, but I just do want to say one thing because Megan and I coached yesterday. So Maria, you haven't been here. You are more than
But
welcome to go here in a
and
second.
then
But I do want to say, Megan,
Mhm.
that one breakthrough that I have is, after our session yesterday, just thinking about, things, I realized that I was pigeonholing people, just certain people. And it really opened my eyes that my same process could be helpful for a lot of people. Like you were really pushing that, and I'm like, I don't think so. But now that I've had some time to sit with it, I'm like, okay, I can see that. And I did have a consult yesterday, and
what?
yes, so that is a win.
What?
Thank you. That was first one in 2 months, so that was exciting. Um, and I brought up the nutrition. She was just in knee pain, and I brought up the nutrition, which was like, okay, I'm gonna try to york all these pillars in here, like Megan said, and I just don't really see how this is gonna. And it turns out her diet is terrible. Like she's a thru hiker and she eats gas station food, and she's like, yeah, this really is a problem actually. So I feel like, and we could go into coaching on the consult, but I want to yield the floor here to Maria, and then I'll come in at the end if there's time. But that was just eye-opening and interesting to me. So just a quick thank you for helping me have that breakthrough. So
Literally anytime. And
we'll come back to me at the
we'll
end if
come back.
there's time.
We'll
Otherwise,
come back. But I'm super excited for you. I think that like just seeing that it really does work is amazing. Now, Maria, what is a win for you?
Ooh, a win. So I have wins. I'm just trying to pick one.
You went to a fun concert, it looks like. I saw that.
Yeah, that was really fun. Maybe a simple win is like, Nora got sick last week, and I still felt like super connected to my business, and I kind of like, I think like a previous version of me would have been like, fuck it, and just like stopped everything. And I didn't do that. I stayed like, I didn't let it like overwhelm me to the point of like, I have to, I can't, like, I let myself have both. And I
Yes.
held her, and I stayed home with her like a full day, and she stayed home like the back half of the back half of last week. She was home like 3 full days. And we were able to like piece together babysitters for part of it, but I was able to like be the mom that I wanted to be, and I also was able to like be the CEO that I wanted to be. And it looked different, of course, but I like didn't give up on myself, even though I was like holding her, and like some of of it meant like we don't really, she's only 2, so it's not like she really like watches TV anyways, but like we don't really watch TV with her at home, and I'm trying to hold out because I know that there will be a time when I like maybe really need it. But I like let her watch freaking Peppa Pig, and she kind of watches it and she gets distracted. Like it's fine. Like I like commit to like not doing that a bunch of other times so that like when I really, like exactly my plan when I really need it. And it was like, 30 minutes of kind of watching it, kind of hanging on the couch, and I finished some things even, and I really like focused and just like got what I needed to get done while she was napping. And it like I actually felt like really empowered when I usually feel like depleted and pissed off. That's
Frick
great.
yes. Let's go. I'm like,
Okay. I I have I got asked to give a talk at my alma mater for a women's leadership group, which is like a huge honor and is really cool. Like it's just a cool opportunity. And I'm excited to like say that I got asked to give a talk, but I'm like terrified to like make the talk. I need like a confidence boost. Like I can I've like mentally kind of like planned. I'm like, okay, the talk is March 9th. I have plenty of time. And I got asked to give the talk like back in like November or something. So I'm like, I'm gonna start thinking about it in January.
It's January.
It's January. And I can tell that I'm kind of like, I've done like a couple things. Like I've kind of had a brainstorm with myself. My next step is to kind of write an outline, and like the organization asked me to send like the title of the talk and like an outline or like a description, and I'm like
Mm-hmm.
fuck. So I think yeah, let's work it out.
Let's work it out. Let's figure it out. But first, I think that I could we could come up with a bunch of different titles, but I want you to
Yeah.
think about like, what if you're becoming the kind of person who does these talks on the regular? Like, it's just kind of like who you are.
Yeah. Well, what's really cool too is like, I think like a couple sessions ago, I was like, I haven't journaled and like, I don't write down anything. Like I was like kind of bummed about like being disconnected from my but anyway, so I like picked it back up, and I don't do it every day like I used to, but I do it when I remember, which is like, thank you, Alicia. I think you were like, listen, it's going to be different when you're a mom. Like, don't try to hold yourself to the standard of before. But the last one I did was like 2021 or something. And one of the things was like, who am I becoming? And it said keynote speaker. And I was like, fuck, it's right there. I manifested that out of nothing. So yeah, like I'm on board with like becoming a woman who gives talks
So
to
what
like women's groups or like all kinds of people.
So I want you to think about like that version of her. What kind of things does she think? If they're like asking to give a talk, what kind of like, I feel like she's coming at it from like whatever I give is going to be like awesome, and like now I'm just excited to like decide on which, versus being like because I maybe a better question is, what are your thoughts that are creating the terrified
No,
right
I
now?
think, yeah, I think that like the thought is like I think one thought, if I'm being really honest, is like I have nothing to say, which I know is not true,
I know it's always
but it's
like
like in there.
right.
Or like I think maybe the one that's keeping me maybe more like in the terrified, or like then creates the action of like just not doing anything,
Yeah, it's a
is
freak.
like um it's something along the lines of what I have to offer is not valuable or something, which also, as I say that, I'm like, I know that's bullshit.
I know, I
I
know.
think it's like, or it's like what I'm gonna say isn't gonna be good enough, and so like, which is all in the same, it's all in the same bucket. I'm saying the same thing. All of these things are like related to each other.
Well, I
Um,
think like
yeah, like it's like I'm worried about like I think the closest this like whatever I say isn't good enough. It's like I know I have valuable information. I know I have something to say. I even asked that, like we had a meeting and I was like, hey, can you tell me like more about who's gonna, like what kind of people are gonna be at the conference, what other speakers, like what, trying to like understand the audience so that I could like create something helpful. And they said, they're like, listen, we picked you because like we looked at your website and like we love your whole message of like creating success without sacrifice. Like they literally want me to just talk about my work, like everything that I'm talking about all the time. I think
I'm
that maybe,
shocked.
so like, I know that like, I think it's maybe like, I'm like, I don't know, like how to
articulate that and
put it into a talk that feels compelling and like interesting and, right. It's like, it's wrapped up. I'm more like, I think I'm getting more wrapped up in the, like, I don't know how to get it like in a talk so that it's like good enough and people like it, or people find it like people want actually feel like it helped them in the like 45. I think I have like, I want to try to aim for like 45 minutes of talk so that there's like time for, I want people to be able to ask questions, like, and like actually maybe be able to discuss some things.
Mhm.
It's like the format is like a talk. Everyone will be, I'm also like the last one of the conference, which I was like, what?
I know, because you're
What does
a badass.
What does that mean?
It means
Um,
you're leading a movement
Need
as
to
well.
wear a really flashy blazer. And,
Of
like do
course you are.
fireworks.
I expect that.
Um,
I'm like, I want it to be, it's gonna
no,
be.
but yeah, like,
Oh.
well, I don't know what I was gonna say. Oh, the format, they're gonna be like eating breakfast or eating lunch or something. Like everyone will, it's not like a workshop or like a panel or something. It's like I am gonna be talking for 45 minutes and then, but I also think like the question part's really valuable and I don't want to rush through it and then be like, well, we really have to go, guys. And it's like, there's not enough time for that. So,
Okay.
and I think that I can share plenty and be really helpful in 45.
Okay. I agree. And I think, did you freeze or did I freeze? Oh God. Can everybody see me, hear me? Shit, did I lose internet? I might have.
Oh no. Oh,
Oh God. Oh no. I was like, I just lost everybody. I was like, either I
you're
froze,
back.
I think that, well, not ideal. But what I was gonna say is I think your brain is putting a lot of pressure on you for this, which I would just love to clarify. Like, where is, like, when you're thinking about like, okay, we want to get engagement, we want to think about like what is valuable, what is good enough. In
Yes.
what like let's like a similar question I asked Demetria was, why is it like, what's the purpose of this freebie? I want you to ask yourself, like, what is the purpose of this launch? And I think we'll get clarity on what the pressure is coming from.
Wait, sorry, can you repeat the question? What's the
So why-
purpose?
So you are giving this talk, and I think your brain is putting pressure on yourself that you have to say things that are really valuable and really good enough so
Mhm.
that some sort of outcome will come from this, which is creating a lot of internal pressure. I want to know
Yeah.
the like pressure coming from.
The prep, like it's totally like self-preservation.
Okay, tell me more.
It's totally me being like, show up. Like I don't, I've never given I've not like, let's see, have I given a talk like this? I don't think I've ever really given a talk like this.
Okay, so again,
So I'm like, I don't want to show up looking like a total newbie, like, oh, she's clearly like never done this. You know what I mean? I don't want to look stupid.
yep, okay. So of course, so
I
it's
don't
like
want to look
it's
stupid
like,
and I want to like, and I know this is like a mindset thing. Like I want to show up and like feel like and look like a successful executive coach, which I get to decide as I
I was
say
like,
that.
which means that
It's
there's
really,
a
this is
piece
helpful.
of
This is
your
helpful.
like, I think there's a piece of your brain that thinks that you are not currently a
I
successful
know.
executive.
Yeah. I know. I realize that as a, yeah, I'm realizing that.
Right?
that- that-
Like,
And so, yeah.
valuable
And like, yeah, what's coming to me is like shit that I always say this to other. It's so much easier when you're not the one under
not
the
yet.
oh. Because I was like, oh, I was just working with the client on this of like, and I talk about this. It's like, let it suck. let it like let start and let it be shitty. Like let it be crappy. Like like this.
Gee, dang it. Did I lose internet again? Must switch internets. Wonder if Rob is having this issue as well.
Like when you're like
We're
talking
listening.
about your own stuff so often, do you ever feel like you're like, this isn't any like groundbreaking anymore? And you're like, I'm not that I'm like bored with my own stuff, but sometimes you're like, I forget that like me saying the most basic thing that I like coach all the time on, people are like, oh my, like sometimes people have heard it before, but then sometimes you were like, holy shit. And sometimes I have to remind myself, like, people need to hear things over again. Like sometimes I get a little in my head about like, everyone knows this already. I'm not saying anything new. This isn't like some new research that I discovered, but that's not the point.
Definitely not the point. And I think
Yeah,
that
and this is helpful. And it's all about more too, like how I say it,
yes, 1,000,000%.
like
Because
how I
like,
come and like my perspective. And that's like what I need to lean into. Oh, I'm gonna cry a little. Maybe not.
I love
Okay.
you.
Yeah. It's kind of a relief, you know, because you're like, oh, you're trying so hard. And then you're like, no, I just have to say it in my way. And if I lean into that, then that's like the magic.
Yes. And that I truly believe it's almost
Really.
like speaking a language. It's almost like your people will hear you and understand you
Yeah.
in a way that they wouldn't hear from somebody else. And I was just coaching.
I don't need to like appeal to everyone in the room. Like I think part of me also hopes that it's
Oh,
like I'm not getting paid to do it. Like part of me wanted to be like, pay me. Like I kind of asked and they're like, we'll waive the conference fee that we like make $100 we make everyone pay. I'm like, okay. But like I think I'm investing like the cost of the flight and like the cost of the hotel and stuff and my time. And I think I'm hoping like I'm also kind of of course I have the hope that it like that investment pays off and it's like I will connect with someone will connect with it enough that either something comes from it in like that's money. And I don't like as I say that, I know that I think like I don't necessarily want to focus my energy in that space while I'm creating the talk. I want to focus on like being the most authentically me that I can, like share. Like I think that I have some like valuable, like vulnerable, like and helpful like stories to share about like my own journey. And like all I need to focus on is like how can I, in my way, how can I like help people in the best way that I know how.
and I think that another thing I want to offer to you is that like, so of course I was like, when I was actually, the thing that I found interesting is I thought the pressure would be like, because I wanted to work out for my business. And I'm like, oh, yep. I'm like, so it's still always a piece of it. And
Wait, what was it? It's not going to work out for my
the
business?
pressure I was thinking was coming from like, this better help my business in some capacity. And it was
Oh,
like for self-preservation and also for your business. So of course, if you're feeling all this pressure, it's going to be stifling creativity and putting you into a freeze response. Of course. Now, what I want to offer you is that when you're thinking, I think sometimes it's sounding like you want to go into a place of altruism where it's like, I just want to be focused on my value and like just like giving and then without thinking about receiving a return. I have found that it's really difficult to do that for me. Sometimes I'm like, sometimes it's very difficult to be like, I'm just giving, like just hoping it's going to pay off. Like the word that hoping the investment will pay off is what keyed me into it. And one of the
yeah.
things that like I want to offer is that like I want to give without looking to receive maybe directly from this, but I'm going to make this investment pay off. Like
Yeah.
whatever it happens, it's like I may I'll reuse it for my people. Maybe I'm going to redo this I'm gonna have someone take pictures of me speaking so that helps my positioning. You know what I mean? It's like I'm going to utilize this and I'm gonna
Ooh, this feels empowering.
right. I was like versus
Okay,
being like,
can we
"Oh,
keep thinking of ideas of how to make it pay off? Because okay, I actually had that exact idea about the photographer, and I was gonna call them, or I was gonna email them and ask them specifically about that. I have it on a list somewhere.
yes.
Because I was like, yeah, I want some like badass photos of me speaking, especially as I go into like this I've been having some like really awesome conversations with like HR professionals and like team leads about packaging like a corporate package where it's like, I'm gonna coach your top 10 females that you want to support, and like you're gonna pay, the company's just gonna pay me, and I'll figure out how to like prove that we're, anyway, like, and I feel like those photos you see of people speaking always make them look like really badass.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so photos. I thought about like I
Videos
thought
for
about just like doing the speech, and I could also like, I think there's a world where I just in the preparation I like like I was gonna just put the talk kind of like once the talk is done, and I'm like, or sometime in there, publish the talk on my podcast.
mm-hmm.
Uh,
And
if and like that's a way that I can like talk about it, be like, if you want to listen to it,
here.
listen there.
And I think what we're hearing is that you're coming up with lots of ideas because you aren't feeling the pressure of this one talk. When we think about making it pay off, I think what's happened is the reason why it's alleviated all these ideas from you is because it's like, oh, it's not just the talk to end all talks. It's not like you know how sometimes you get attached to a client, and you're like, this is the client to end all clients. This is the only thing that will ever make my business work. But now that when we're thinking about like, okay, I'm gonna stretch this, use this for other opportunities and things like that, then you're like, oh, okay, so this isn't just a talk to end all talks. And I added some other ideas in here. It's like I'm learning how to do keynote presentations so I can do even more of these speeches in the future. I'm going to have this as a piece of my future program that for other companies. Maybe you record it and you put it as a module that you put in your Google Classroom for your people. Maybe you do the same speech for other women's groups. You publish it on the podcast. But that takes the pressure off because it's like, no matter what, this is going to make my business go forward and this isn't that much pressure. So from that place, if you want to give a bomb ass presentation, then it's like, okay, but because I'm going to be given a bunch of presentations, there's just one piece of the pie. What would be like my favorite pillar or topic to talk about? What would just be really fun because it's not pressured anymore. And also when your brain is in a state of fun, play, and enjoyment, it works 80% better than usual. So that's why I was trying to like also alleviate the pressure. When you have pressure, it like constraints with you are in a state of play, is what they call it, like the fun alleviated. You actually think better. So like what would be fun for you? What would like be enjoyable?
Um,
Planning
you got it down.
companies.
Look at you. Just have my
You know, I'm
thing
ready.
ready. Um, I think I really want to like, I really want to focus it on, um, I really want to focus it on like the tools, like, the tools that like really create, like that really help people,
Create it
create
all.
like less burnout.
Because I'm thinking like they asked
I
you.
want it to feel like, yeah, I like going into like specific like leadership skills. It feels like, um, I think like this audience like too, if I go into like really specific like skill building, um,
I
or like I guess like leadership development type stuff, I feel like it gets a little like heavy anyway. Like it just gets like pretty tactical. where I want to be talking about,
Having it all.
I want to be talking about like how to ask for support, like the tools that give to like less about like here's all this stuff. Obviously, like asking for support is something that you need to do, but I want it to be about like how women can receive more by like asking for help, by like supporting their mindset, by taking care of themselves. Like I want to lean into like all of those things, and then like talk about how that bolsters their innate ability. Like when you take care of yourself, you don't need to fix yourself. You like when you're taken care of, you are amazing and you like shine a little bit brighter. Like you're able to then support others. And like yeah. I think
And
that's like where I want to where I want to focus more. And I
like,
have I'm not sure like what my brain has definitely gone to like, what are other people going to talk about? There's like other speakers throughout the like 2-day thing. And I don't think it matters. I don't know if their stuff is focusing, because also the theme of the conference is cracking the code. Which like I don't even know what that means. Like I get it, but like I'm like, you could do anything with that. But I don't want it to be more things of like, here's a checklist of how you need to like delegate better. And like I help my clients with those things, obviously. And those are things that help people reduce burnout. But underneath it, it's like building the confidence to make decisions and being like, I know what I'm talking about. Asking for support from like in your personal life, asking for support in your professional life, like all of those things.
like, look at how badass this is. Like, can we just take a minute? Like, you know exactly what to talk about when you take the burden off. And if
Yeah.
you want to put like the script, if you want to like write some stuff out, if you need some support with that, totally put it in the group. But I want you to think
Yes.
about how you're feeling other than that freeze response, that terrified. What are you feeling now?
I feel I feel more I feel inspired, or I feel like excited. Well, like I don't want to come from like an excited. I feel like grounded. And like certain, like none of this stuff is, I know how to like, yeah,
And
none
wait,
of
what's
these
your
things are
thoughts
like,
about
I don't
that?
know how to like build this out. Yeah, I know how to write about all of these things.
Yes, to about all of these things. I think that is the shift. So not curtain. I was
And I
like,
actually feel like less, I know I'll be like a little nervous for the like actual talk, but and yeah, maybe that'll come later. I'm sure I'll be back
oh
soon.
yeah.
I'll
I
be
was
back
like,
in a month being like, oh shit.
we're right. That's
But
fine. Work together.
more right now it's more about I want to get the content, like I want the content to be like really strong. And when I feel like, and yeah, now I'm remembering that I've given talks before. And like when I'm like, yeah, what did I had like yeah. I remember how I felt when I like have given talks where I felt really connected to them and I felt really good giving the talk. I also have a question for the group.
Yeah.
If you're like asked to give a talk, what's the like, do I need to memorize it? Or like, it's fine to have like people don't memorize their talks, right? Like the president doesn't. I was like, the president doesn't do that, right? Like I can have it. I
I
can
would
like
just
have
have
it.
like slides and then, talk, just like you were doing a webinar, just have slides. Are you allowed to have slides?
Yeah, I can have visual aid, but I think it'll be like behind me.
Yeah.
But I
But you
guess,
can like look at it and like it'll just
yeah,
help prompt you. That's what I would do anyway. It would just help prompt you through your talks, just like on a webinar
yeah.
does. That'd be
And
my recommendation.
you could also
Well, and
practice it
ask
for your
them,
people. Oh, go ahead. Yeah, sorry, Demetria.
I'm sorry, ask them if they have like a teleprompter, and then if you have notes in your presentation, you can put them on that, and it can just be like bullet points to remind you what to say, but yeah, I don't think you have to memorize it.
Yeah, I was like, yeah, like it went, yeah, that's something I've been like thinking. I was like a talk. It's like sometimes people, it's like a TED talk. They kind of, I mean, I know they have notes and stuff, and I don't think it's like that. I mean, it's not going to be like that. Like there's going to be like 200 people there, which is like a good amount of people, but it's also, yeah, I don't want to, my like initial, my like the way that I would usually do this is like literally write the entire thing,
And
like
like,
write exactly what I was going to say.
and so for
But
you,
then,
Mhm. Your way of doing presentations is gonna be different than everybody else's too.
yeah,
So
I
like
guess,
being like, it's like, okay, so there are ways that other people do it, but I want you to be in the energy of like like it's not necessarily about what you say. It's not necessarily about what the slides that you say, and it's not necessarily if you memorized it or not, but it's more about
yeah,
like, who you are as you give the talk. And then trusting that the right people are gonna find you from that. So that's
yeah.
what
Because like
we
my
like the
gut
notes we
is
have.
more like, I think that, so a couple other things to like make it work for me is like, I want visual aid, but I actually don't want a ton
Yeah.
of visual aid because I don't want it to feel like, I want to have like a few slides, especially if there's like a point that is like demonstrated well by like a chart or like a quote or something. And I want a place at the end to put like my photo and my information.
Yes.
But I'm also thinking about making like handouts. Um, Again, with my like it's basically like
QR
a
code.
glorified business card, but like maybe putting like an outline of like what we talked about, or like here's your like checklist or something. Um, that so it's like really helpful. Like someone can like take it and like read it and have it, and then have my info on it. Um, yeah, but I guess I want it to, I don't want people to get like lost in the slides. I want them to like I also want them just to like listen.
And I want you to trust that within yourself, that like
Yeah.
the way that like it's like if you are feeling like that is the right thing, then I want you to be able to be the CEO that goes with it. I mean, like, yes,
Yeah.
I know the amount of information I want on each side. This is what I'm thinking. And then asking for feedback, you know what I mean? Which I think you've been doing a beautiful job of doing. And also being like within like your slides and things like that, we were talking about like QR codes and like having that as like we just want to make it very easy if someone
Yeah.
wants to take the next step with you. One of the books I'm reading right now is called Spin Selling, and it's interesting for if anyone wants to read it, I'll like put it in the in the stream. But it's all about how the best sellers give people the next like create an easy opt-in for the next step for themselves. So one of the things that you can do is like just being like, just make it easy for them if they want more to get more.
Yeah. Yeah, I actually, in one of my like networking groups, a woman came, I don't know if she went to she's a doctor, but
Mhm.
she now like coaches people on, I mean, she's talking about all the stuff, like talking about our nervous systems, and like
Well,
she did breathing exercise, whatever. But I really was like paying attention to how she presented, and like halfway through she was like, I'm gonna, I want to give you this freebie, and it was like a link to her, Flow Desk, like one, and it was basically gathering emails. And then she offered like consultations at the end.
yes.
And I don't think that's like the way she did it,
And be like,
felt
I'm on our
like
burnout.
obvious. It felt like, yeah, of course you would do that. Like it felt, and they were like, she kind of like, she like did the freebie thing like halfway through. Um, and that could be an interesting way to like put a QR code like really big on a slide. Um, or you could put the QR, or if you hand out the handouts,
Mhm.
it'd be like, the QR codes on your handout.
Yeah. And it like,
That was like a virtual one. So it was like easy for everyone to click the link. Like I immediately click the link and like open the page because you're already sitting there on your computer.
yeah,
So I might, maybe there's like what like I could think about, is there like another
you could do like
way
a
for people to
giveaway.
take action right away
You could
or
do
take
like,
action
Mhm.
after the talk?
You could have like a handout. Another idea for you is like you could have a scan. The thing is, if they scan, put their information in, then you could do like a spinner and like give away free coaching, or you could have like a sheet and be like, if you put your name and your email here, I'm giving away a free coaching session at the end of this. So pass that around and then it'll make my way back up to me. And you can add those manually too. But also
Cool.
here, I was like, you're the founder.
Yeah, a
of the
giveaway
box.
is such a good idea.
Like I'm invited here as an expert and a resource for you, not just for today, but for the future as well. So if there's anything else, like like you guys are all amazing bosses. That's why you're at a women's leadership conference. Please let me know if there's any way I can support you in the future. That's why the QR code's there. Feel free to save it for later. But do you see how I'm sprinkling it in? Like as an expert, I am a resource. I founded Burnout to Boss.
Yeah.
You want to work with me? Planting seeds for your people, key.
Yeah, and I love, the way you're saying it feels so like natural and it's focusing more on like, hey, listen, like I'm a resource. It's not as focused on like you really need help.
Yeah.
You're really bad, like you're struggling. It's more like, hey, listen, like I'm a resource, like I'm here for you. I don't know, it feels like really genuine and like you are here to help, not like, please buy my services.
And Alicia just said something real quick, and she said that like yes, sorry, I'm like
Oh yeah.
talking simultaneously. Just make sure they have a rule about this, but if they do have a swag bag, you can throw it in there and be like, hey, like just so you know, then a QR on the screen would work. So if you have slides that are virtual or being put up there, you can have them submit on both ways. The other way,
Yeah, I think like so
oh, they have
what I
virtual
think would be
slide decks.
great is like doing the QR code thing and like putting it up on having it on the slide, but also putting it on the handout. And that's just like that's how I'm gathering emails. And then and then if somebody wants like make it clear that like if you want my freebie, whatever that is that I create is like the QR code, and then the my email's there to like contact me directly and like all my info. And having it up on the screen, but then having it on the handout because like, like shit happens and like, oh, the friggin' we couldn't get your presentation to work. Like, all right, that's gone. You know what I mean? I don't want it to be in just one place, I think.
Genius.
And I can control I can like make the handout and print them and like put them in my suitcase kind of thing.
Yes.
And like I'm gonna get there. I think that I'm gonna the conference is like Friday afternoon and then I speak on like Saturday at noon or something. And like I think I want to get there and like be able to network as well.
Mhm.
So just like handing those out.
It's huge.
I'm learning about some other really cool ways that people like do networking, like trade info on their phones. Like this one guy had like he pulled it up. It was like a QR code,
The Haya
and then it
something.
was like a thing, and it was like a 1 minute like highlight reel of him being like, "Hey, I'm Jim," and like blah blah blah. I was
Hi,
actually
Jim.
like, I was like, that's kind of cool.
Yeah, there's
He's
this
like
thing
a
called
pro
Hi.
networker too. Like you could tell.
Yeah, it's this thing called Hi Hello. That's another thing like that too. And it's like a virtual business card. So you can just be like, you can send it or scan. If you want to scan somebody else's, you can. I'm trying to find like, I'll put this in the chat as well. But you can be like, it's like double tap to send your card. So it looks like this. I found out about
Yeah.
this at a networking group I was in. But I'll send you guys this too. But I'm like so excited for you. I feel like
I'm
now,
feeling much more like kind of, I love getting in the mindset of like, how am I going to make it work for me? And feeling like, I get to like pull together some like cool things to make the whole experience like a win.
oh yeah.
Yeah, thank you so much. I really needed this.
Of course, you crushed it. I'm so proud of you. And if you have any questions on like other ideas or things like that, the chat, the stream, resource, do the things.
Yeah. Yeah. It's definitely yeah, I just like getting just starting is like the biggest.
And now you know what you're gonna say. It's pretty neat.
What?
Now you know what you're gonna say.
Yeah. Yeah. It's
It's
gonna
always
be, yeah.
easier once you know what you want to say. I literally asked Jackie, who it has been
Yeah.
my coach for years, and I was just in a rough headspace last week. My partner's going through a rough time at work, and so it's just been an adventure. We're not really sure what the future holds and things like that. And I was literally just like to my coach, I was like, can you just give me a webinar title? I was like, Jackie, can you just text me the name of something and I will figure out what to say? And I was like, I'm just not in a good place and I just need some help. So if anybody else is in that situation, you're like, just tell me something to do and I can get to work. I think that also
Yeah.
totally available for you in this group as well.
I love it.
So amazing. I'm so
Right? It's like easier when you're not the one that's like responsible for the thing
yeah, 'cause you
somehow.
probably crush it. You're like, you are the mental drama. But I love this. And I do still have an extra little bit of time. Alicia, I know that you also want to get some coaching, but if you have to go, feel free to put it in your stream. Everybody else who needs to roll, feel free to rally. But if you've got a little extra time, Alicia, I got you. You look like you were locked in.
Yeah, I've got a little time. My next client is until noon. So I had the consult yesterday and it was going great. And I feel like I lost her along the way, and I did my eval and I realized I didn't really paint the vision, right? Like I just assumed she got the vision. Like she came
I
here for the problem. Go ahead.
Well, this is the same thing I talked with another client about, like literally this past week. And I just want to clarify this for everybody. So, something that I do is I paint the vision at every single step. So, I'm like talking with her or him or whoever about marketing, right? And so I'm like, where are you now? Where do you want to be 6 months from now? And then I paint the vision for the powerful positioning method. I'm like, okay, thank you for sharing that. Here's what I want to offer you within Six Figure Systems. What I would do is I would ensure that you have powerful positioning and I want to cut down your work to 6 hours a month. So I would make sure that you're focusing a month because I want you to get less time. I want you to hit the key piece of your audience so you are positioned as an expert, and I want to make it less time. How does that land for you? And they're like, great. And then I go to managing leads, and then I talk them through that, paint the vision here. Then I talk them through sales, talk through that, paint the vision here. And then I talk them through operations and talk them
Mhm.
through what I would do. And I'm like, based on what you've said, I do think that Six Figure Systems would work for you. Do you mind if I share about how I would customize the program to fit your needs? If they were like a 3, 7, 2, 1, what I would do is I'd be like, well, based on the fact that you're not really sure where you want this business to go, the first thing I would do, I paint the vision again. So I paint the vision at every single step. I paint the vision again, and I'm like, okay, I would do this for 1, this for 2, this would be the second thing that I would work with you on specifically. Then we would get into marketing, then we'd get into sales. How does that land for you? And then they would be like,
Mhm.
great. And be like, so do you mind if I tell you, it's like, I do think that this would be a good fit. Can I tell you more about like what it would look like when we work together? Paint the vision a third time. Like, so not only at every step, paint the vision about how I'd customize it. Then I'm like, what we would do within Six Figure Systems is we'd meet once a week. I'd figure out your availability. We would talk through the kind of things that you would be doing. And then I would also get you set up in this virtual classroom. I don't expect for any of my clients one-on-one or group to look at the modules themselves, but they're a resource here if you want. And then I can also, I'd be teaching you like exactly what system to implement, and then we would do that right away. How did that land? And they'd be like, wow, that sounds awesome. I would be like, great. So based on everything I've said, do you have any other questions for me? And like you can even show, we looked at it yesterday, like your calendar, be like, you would get a calendar, there'd be an app. Like this is like that would be the where we would want to get into the how. What I used to do to get into the how is I'd be like, look at my marketing calendar. Doesn't this feel like enticing? And they would be like, too much. They're like, this is growth, this is too much for sure. So that's one of the things that like that's what I don't mean by talking about the process. What I do mean talking about the process is like talking them through like what it would actually look like. So how does
Okay.
is there any piece of that that you were like lost her along the way that you might have been like missing a piece of painting the vision, or did you have all of that and still didn't feel like the vision was clear?
No, I didn't have all that. Where's that little piece of paper? Do we have that template in our?
Yeah, girl. I was like, it is the selling system. I'm gonna put
You know what? That's the one. That's the one.
might have
There's
missed.
2 modules I haven't done, and that's. I think that's one of them.
Done. Just added you to it.
Okay, thanks.
And what I
thanks.
would do is I would just put that template down, add your pillars, and just
Okay.
practice that. And if you feel like you want to kind of run through it with somebody, if anyone is open and available, maybe you can like post in there and be like, hey, would someone be willing to like just do a dry run through? That could
Mhm.
also be a possibility too.
Yeah, I mean, I think I waited until the end, I went through all the pillars with her and asked her to rate them. And then I didn't go back and say, okay, what would a 10 look like for you?
Mm.
I just said, so if all of these things were 10, how would you feel? Which
Okay.
isn't a bad question.
It's not a
Not
bad question. It's just like it's just a little different
It's just,
flavor.
it just didn't, I don't think, give her enough gravity, you know? Anyway, she said she was ready to get started right away, but she had to talk to her husband, which I have zero drama about. I never have any drama about that. And we've got to follow up on Thursday, but it was a good reminder. It's like, oh yeah, I think I get nervous that I'm losing her. And then funnily enough, she got hung up on the nutrition thing. Like she kept coming back to that. And I was like, this isn't really where we're going to focus all our time. I didn't say that, but I just, then she started telling me what she eats on a daily basis and all, and I'm like, okay, I've lost the plot here on, I've got to rein this back in. So then I was kind of spinning, I think at that point, just like, oh shit, how do I get her back on track? And I just didn't stay, anyway, it's fine. Whether she will or she won't, whatever. It was good learning, good refresher, good get back into the groove.
And like notice she said yes, and your brain's like, well, there are more people like it's like so it's like I wouldn't count her out. I would actually
No.
pull out this worksheet, this one. I would, if I were you, I would fill this out for like you could fill it out with everything that you did on the other consult and
As
that
my eval. Yeah.
your pre-consult work for her. That
Yeah.
could be awesome. The other thing is you recognize as a CEO, you're like, okay, I'm identifying that there is an area for growth for me. That when people get off track, then I need another, other than validation, maybe we need a different solution. So from your CEO brain, what is like an idea you have? People are going to get off track, even if you're painting the vision. What would you do to get them back on track for the next consult that might get off track?
I guess I would say like, yeah, it sounds like this is maybe important to you and something you really haven't given a whole lot of thought about before, and we will really dive into that in the program and find a solution that's going to work for you, as
Amazing.
well as doing, looking at this, looking at this, looking at this. I feel like too, like the pillars get a little
Too close.
too long, just too
Ah.
much. I don't want it to be overwhelming.
So maybe you could say a sentence about each. It's like, just give me a brief sentence about like where you're at now. Like for instance, and you can even give them, if they're struggling and like just still talking too much, you can give them like prompts and be like, it's like, so for burnout, struggling with feeling, or so yours is fitness. It's like kind of out of shape. So
Well,
you
yeah,
say-
no, I don't, yeah, that's not the problem. It's just that there's so many things that I'm asking them about that maybe it's too much, but maybe it's not, maybe it's not. She kind of also went off the rails on, I said, so how would you rate your confidence to go on a hike on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being you think about, you make decisions about the hike based on your knee pain, and 10 being you don't even think about your knees when you decide where you want to go. And then she was like, well, it depends on the terrain. It depends on how far. And she started to go off on a tangent. And I was like, well, here's what you're telling me is that it is a factor. You do think about it. And so
Somewhat.
I'm gonna say you're a 3. Does that sound about right? And she said, yeah,
Perfect.
no, you're right.
Okay. So you're,
Um,
so, and what we can do is I would like for you to do 5 to 10 more consults and see if
Yeah.
the length is taking a while. See if there are maybe too many pillars, and then we can make it, then we might need to pivot. But let's give it like, maybe it was just like, I would like to give it since we did take a lot of time to like think about it, I do think that they're really valid for both knee pain group and for one-on-one. And I think that
Yeah.
if you were to like maybe trying with the painting the vision, they would get the picture and there would be other alternatives. But also I got rid of 2 of my pillars, so that could work too. It's totally up to
Okay.
you.
Yeah. No, I think I mean, I'm willing to stay on track, and
This was like so good though. I'm very excited for you. Do you have any more consults on the books?
I don't. I had a lady reach out from the website and asked her if she said, this is what I need help with. I said, that's exactly what I do. Would you be interested in scheduling time to chat on the phone for a free consultation? She said, yes, I would. I said, that's great. You can find a time that works here for you at the link, and crickets. That happens a lot. So I think I'm going to go back to, if someone reaches out to me directly, having them send me 2 or 3 times, that work for them. That's all I did at the beginning.
Let's go
And
back
it
to
seems like that works when people reach out to me directly. Like, I have tons of people, not tons, but I've, obviously people can get on my link if they're interested from a marketing piece or a piece of copy, they can schedule themselves. But when someone reaches out to me, I think I have better success getting them on a call
And
if I just keep the dialogue and I don't, hunt them out to a link.
where are you?
That's happened a bunch before.
Let's do this. Send to all those people, you still know them, reach back out.
Mm-hmm.
Let's fill up those 5 spots for your one-on-one, and let's get that knee pain group going.
Okay, yeah, I did reach back out to the lady and I said, hey, I just wanted to follow up. If you didn't see a time, let me know a time that works for you, and I'll get it on the schedule. And I haven't heard anything from her, which is,
But do you see like how we want to build a little bit more urgency? Like, and it's like, I have some spots open, implies that they might not be open for long. So I just want you to build like a little bit like, hey, let's motivate, let's do this. Now, if you are trying to do it from a place where you don't have that many spots open, I know you factually do have spots, like just a limited number of spots open. So you can be like, I know that we were talking about going on this hike. I know you might have been thinking about going on a hike and I would love to support you. We can make it service focused as well.
Okay.
But this is so good. I'm so proud of you and everybody. This is like so awesome. And if you have any questions at all, please let me know. And I've got you for not just this follow-up, but like all the other consults too.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that. And I do really appreciate that. The question you asked, Demetria, what emotion do I have to feel to lead this movement? And you know, I loved hers, but like for me, like I'm gonna have to feel uncomfortable. I'm gonna have to feel vulnerable, as well as confident, intentional, welcoming, right? So
Yes. Oh, yes. And I think that that's that willingness to be like, I'm willing to do this to be this. But I'm so freaking proud of you. Like these pivots in the past week have been monumental for this year for you. Like I think
Yeah.
these like huge. And so now we're just going forward with it, which I'm just so fucking proud of you. Like and everybody. But I love you all. Like I love you so much. You're killing it. And I cannot wait to hear how the follow-up goes.
Yeah. Okay. I'll keep you posted.
Please do. I love you, lady, and I love everybody. And I will see you guys next week.
All right. Thanks a bunch, Megan. All right. Bye.
Bye.